What's up, everyone? This is Silver Slayer. We hit 36,000 subscribers, which means I'm doing another giveaway. If you want a chance to win some free silver, enter in the video I posted yesterday. Hashtag Slayer36K. Giving away some free, and at 40,000 subscribers, I'm giving away over $1,000 worth of silver. Over $1,000 will be sent to one of you, to your front doorstep. I mean, how beautiful would that be to get all that silver sent right to your door for absolutely nothing? I'll even pay for shipping. So, I think you know what to do. Smash that subscribe button. I also post daily videos, so it doesn't get much better than that. Now, I was in a 1910 Mansion Hotel yesterday. I went out of town, stayed the night there. It was beautiful, right? It was absolutely beautiful. I got the mansion suite, the most expensive room, and I was living great. Silver wasn't living too great. Obviously, the rally had to end. What goes up must come down. The new investors, the newbies, didn't know that. They didn't expect that. They thought it was just going to go to $1,000 without any type of backdrop. This is called a correction. This is called a sell-off. This is overbought territory. When something just goes up, 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 it's going to crash, crash, crash. It's actually healthy for this to happen. It would have been very, very, very bad for silver if it would have just kept rising. Look what happened to Bitcoin in 2017 when it skyrocketed to $18,000 with no type of backdrop, with no type of correction. It crashed so hard. It went down to $5,000 and took years and years for it to start gaining any traction. So this was good. For the new people, they're freaking out. They're saying, holy crap, silver's crashing. That's not what this is. It's called a correction. Now, the media is going to portray it that way because they don't like silver. You know how many people were hoping that silver was going to crash, and at any type of a backdrop, they're going to portray it as some catastrophic event, making the new investors think that they're in some catastrophic event. That's why you got to watch videos from real investors that understand the markets instead of an outsider trying to manipulate the newbies and influence their decision to their liking. Now, Silver Short Squeeze highlights the long-term opportunity for investors. I found some articles, good and bad, right? I'm trying to be transparent. I found articles about, the good things and the ones that are talking about the bad things. And we're going to break down all these articles. I might have to break this into two videos because there is 4 articles. So I'm going to cover these 2 at first. And we're going to jump right into it. Let me know what you guys think about this stuff and your opinion, your insight on the markets right now as well. The silver, the rise in silver prices to an 8-year high this week. 8-year high. Driven principally by speculators is a significant development for the sector. And you guys know, if you are a Silver Slayer fan or watch my videos at least, you know I hate this one word, and it starts with an S. Yep, speculation. Speculation is the worst thing for silver. Cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, driven off speculation. That's why it shot up to $18,000 within a couple of months when it was down to like 1,800. Went from 1,800 to 18,000 from speculation. Gold and silver have intrinsic value because it's a physical metal. It comes out of the ground and demand. It's based off of supply and demand, right? Basic principles. So speculation should not be in the precious metals world. So the Reddit thing was cool, but for the long term, and like some of these articles go into, it could actually have a negative or reverse effect. The short term is great because you could cash out while you literally manipulate a pump upwards, but in the longer term, there's a cost to pay. Now, while the metal has pulled back somewhat since Monday highs, silver remains far from its long-term potential price level based on fundamental factors. And this is what they're not going to talk about. This is the context behind the scenes that these Forbes, right, these BBC, all these CNN type people, mainstream media, they're not going to show context. They're going to say silver crashed. They're going to say silver, all these people, you know, are lost money because they bought at $30 and now it's down. They're not going to show context. They're not going to talk about the silver shortage. They're not going to talk about stimulus getting thrown out and what that's going to do to affect silver prices. They're not talking about silver demand, how it's an industrial metal, how we're going to need more and more and more of it with 5G electric vehicles and solar panels with the green energy. They're not going to talk about any of that. No context. They're just going to talk about what's happening right now, regardless of what direction things are going. Number one, silver and silver producers have been fundamentally undervalued for many years, despite a supportive macroeconomic environment for precious metals and growing industrial demand for silver, what I was just talking about. 2, investor sentiment towards silver is improving, yet there is much more room for recovery, with silver having lagged gold for some time. That's also true, right? I mean, obviously these things are all true, but I'm going to give some context, right? I mean, even these people don't give too much context. They don't need to. They're getting straight to the point, but I'll still break it down a little bit more for you guys. I'll dissect this stuff so you really understand why they're saying this. Now, gold broke through $2,000, right? In August last year, that was the highest gold has ever been in the history, the 5,000 years that gold and silver have been seen as a exchangeable form of money. That was the highest price gold has ever been. We witnessed history. They're going to be reading about that in the history books the first time gold broke past $2,000. And hopefully they'll be reading it when it breaks past $3,000 and $5,000. But this was the first crazy number. It broke past $2,000. Now, silver was the opposite. Silver was still 25 or actually like around $20. The gold to silver ratio was 125 to 1. That is also history that's not going to stay, that we're not going to see that number ever again. Ever. 125 to 1 is a number that will never, in my lifetime at least, I don't think will ever be beat. We're going to be reading about that in the history books for years, and nothing is going to get that out of whack again because we were in the middle of a global pandemic, a lot of stuff happening. Now, gold, since I said, broke past that $2,000 mark. Silver didn't explode yet. Gold, it's like a volcano. Gold already exploded. It erupted. Silver is still bubbling. It hasn't exploded yet, and it always does follow gold. Whatever gold does, silver follows, and silver hasn't taken that next step, but it will. Number 3, the rising silver price highlights the positive outlook for silver miners, many of which are recovering from this virus related disruption from the industry and benefiting from margin expansion. This virus messed up a lot of things. I mean, not only were the mines shut down, especially Mexico and Peru got hit the hardest, and they accumulate together 40% of the global silver production. And even when they came back, the mines start opening, limited workers, right? Limited work conditions, but also the distribution factors of trying to distribute all this silver around the world with all these boundaries, the border cutoffs, and I mean, you couldn't get silver anywhere. Across Baker Steel's funds, we have held overweight positions to silver producers in recent months and see substantial upside potential in the sector, particularly through exposure to high-quality silver producers which have strong margins and are well positioned to benefit from higher silver prices. Silver rose to $30 an ounce earlier this week as the metal became the focus of retail trading phenomenon, which has seen small-scale investors, fueled by social media and online forums, buying companies and investments which they perceive to have been the targets of short selling by institutions. That's pretty much what happened in the bubble. There's some more stuff that's going on behind that, but that's essentially what happened. I mean, silver ETFs experienced record inflows, while surge in purchases of physical silver left many dealers out of stock as investors piled into the metal. Now, I bought 4 tubes of Eagles, which is 80 ounces of silver. Right, there's 20 ounces in 2. I bought 80 ounces of silver. I bought it in 2 different purchases. I bought 40 ounces, 2 tubes, and then I kind of impulsively bought 2 more tubes later on when I found out that there was still one place that had some in stock, but there was not much left. So I jumped the gun, and I did it. And I got an email today saying that it's not going to ship out for like 10-15 days. So I mean, in the next couple weeks, expect a massive silver unboxing from yours truly. Now, the metal's rapid price movements of the past few days demonstrates that momentum can build quickly and the potential for higher prices is real, putting aside the reasoning and motivation behind speculators' planned squeeze on silver. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Regardless of that, silver is still going to rise, and that highlights some important features of the silver market, most notably the sector's potential for recovery. Look at this, silver recovery. $50 in 2011 went down to this, and this is when I started stacking, right around here. Silver was pretty low. Then we, right there, the July 2016 high of $21 silver, and we haven't seen anything near that. This is in March when silver hit $11, then skyrocketed to $30 in August, and from March to August, $30. That's when gold was crazy. This was in the gold to silver ratio right here, was 125 to 1, and now we're right here. And look at this nice little U shape starting to recover. Now, I mean, we could talk about all this, all this stuff right now, but the rest of this is pretty much, it's whatever. I only like to tell you guys stuff you need to know. I'm never going to talk about stuff you don't need to know. And I'm always going to talk about stuff that you need to hear. I don't like beating around the bush. I don't like rambling. So we're going to go on to the next article, which is talking about how silver dealers scramble to find supplies for retail buyers. And this is interesting because if or when coins start coming back in stock, I'm curious to see what these dealers are going to do to go about it. A lot of places aren't taking any orders until they catch up with all these orders. I mean, Pinehurst Coins said they saw 25 times more purchases that day than they get in like a week. So they're behind, and that's a smaller mint. I mean, places like APMEX that got hit hard because they're so known and everyone was flooding there, or JM Bullion, right, where their site crashed, like literally was offline. I'm curious what they're going to do, and also curious if they're going to start raising the prices, right? I mean, if silver is going to be scarce and a lot of it's going to be out of stock because people buy it the second it hits the markets, they're going to have to do something. And because if you only have so much silver and it's getting bought out right away, you're going to have to push the price up to some extent. I mean, U.S. Mint already cut off sending any more silver to these dealers, or silver or gold eagles. The U.S. Mint, and I don't think people talk about this enough or take note of this, the U.S. Mint literally is not sending any more silver or gold eagles out to dealers. So whatever the inventory has of these dealers, that's what they have. That's crazy. So silver prices extended to their rally on Monday to an 8-year high as small investors answer calls on social media, right? There are massive shortages. We'll be completely out of stock if it carries on like this for the first time since our company opened 7 years ago. Some customers sold gold to buy silver, right? Trading the gold, using the gold to silver ratio, and that's a great way to earn free silver. You can trade silver for gold or gold for silver, right? I mean, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, let's say the gold to silver ratio is 100 to 1. So you have an ounce of gold. No, let's do it this way. The gold to silver ratio is 100 to 1, which means you could trade 100 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold. So let's say you have 100 ounces of silver and you trade it for 1 ounce of gold, right? So now you have 1 ounce of gold. You used to have 100 ounces of silver. Now you have 1 ounce of gold, and that's all you have. Then let's say the gold to silver ratio rises from 100 to 1 to 110 to 1. Now you could trade that 1 ounce of gold back to silver, but you just got 10 free ounces, because now it's 110 to 1. 110 ounces of silver equals 1 ounce of gold. So literally, you just made 10 ounces of silver from just trading it back and forth at the right times. Now, U.S. bullion broker APMEX warned of delays in processing silver transactions because of surging volumes. Other dealers, including JM Bullion, SD Bullion, warn customers shipping delays from 5 to 10 days. That's an extremely long time. I've seen in the past it was 3 days. I've seen 3 to 5 days, but I've never heard of 10, 15 days, right? That's crazy. So there is enough airline traffic to ensure supply can move around, unlike year when the lack of freight capacity disrupted gold markets. And we also see, in the short term, stocks may run out since it takes a long time for sea shipping, but overall supply is ample. Around 1 billion ounces of silver are produced and consumed each year, and supply has been in surplus for most of the last decade. See, the recirculating supply isn't that high because a lot of silver gets thrown out, gets thrown out because it's an industrial metal. It's not used for coins and jewelry like gold is. Most silver is used in laptops, so nobody's scrapping silver out of laptops, so most silver is getting thrown away. The miners digging it out the ground haven't really been digging up much silver because it's been so cheap for the last, 8 years that they're trying to look for metals that actually have value. Why would you spend time looking for silver if it's $25 an ounce when you could look for gold that's $2,000 an ounce, right? You're trying to, money's the motive, and that makes a lot more sense to look for something that's 100 times more valuable. So there was more muted because then China started buying in after this frenzy. Chinese investors piled in the futures markets, and India buyers typically favor gold as an investment. It's used a lot for their jewelry and their religion. So anyways, that's kind of what's going on. I really want you guys to know that silver still has a lot of potential. Do not read articles from people that are favoring stocks or, mainstream type of news sources, because they're going to portray it in a way that looks bad and it's incorrect and they give no context. That's why I like making videos like this, to show context, to tell you guys what's really going on instead of what they want you to know. And now in my next video, I'm going to break down these bad articles from Forbes and places like that where they're talking about this in a certain way to manipulate readers. So stay tuned for that as well. Remember to go enter my 36,000 subscriber giveaway. This was Silver Slayer. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.